Hey everybody, two for a day. This one kept me awake all last night. And for those Tesla fans in the audience, and if you are a watcher of this channel, odds are you might have a little bit. But we're going to break down top 10 things that you probably missed or did not quite pick up on from the actual earnings call. Some people call them Easter eggs, nuggets, whatever, but they were stunning revelations that I had to take 24 hours to try and process in my little brain. And speaking of that, brought to you by IA1, my little food shake. I'll share the recipe on Patreon. All natural. Gives me the energy to do this 24 hours a day. Anyway, this earnings call was full of... I'm only making fun of promotions. I'd never do a paid promotion. You know that. Anyway, game changers. Wow, we're going to talk about FSD, V12, AI, Inference. They're scaling AI, the new CyberCab, which is a Robotaxi, a whole bunch of gold mines, how energy is exploding, the 3 million car capacity from existing infrastructure. We'll look at our valuation model, sneak peek, and friend of the show, Cern Basher, you got to come on again. We got to redo this because we're bringing stuff that we expected to happen in 3 years forward to hit next year, maybe even this year. Anyway, we'll also look at the ATR model at the very end too, lots of models, and see if we are too late for this story. So let's go. And thank you as well to the team who inserts this. Kendall Otis just joined the Patreon and have been following the channel for a while. Well, thank you so much. Learning a lot and slightly overwhelmed, but trying to keep up. Well, don't worry. It's a journey. And blast from the past. I was at the Cybertruck event. I walked through the Gigafactory twice. The stuff that they say they do sometimes is very hard to believe, but when you walk through that factory floor and you see how they do it, it blows your mind. It's like nothing else. Anyway, what I did was I put together a mind map, because that's the way my brain works, of all the top 10 shockers. Hey, Zeno, good to see you, buddy. Of all the top 10 shockers from the Tesla call. And rather than walk you through this, it's a bit of an eye chart, I'll just break it up. But these are the key things that I pulled from it, and I think they're quite profound. So let's go through one by one. First of all, let's start with the scaling and Model 2. A lot of the market was fearful that Tesla was going to give up making a Model 2 and just do a straight robotaxi. And that freaked everybody out. But not only are they still doing a Model 2, but they're accelerating the production of this. And they mentioned new models, not just a robotaxi on a Model 2, but maybe something else, maybe a little minivan or something. We're not sure. And what they're also doing, which is kind of stunning, is they're integrating the next generation and current platform technologies, which is probably the unboxing is the new one with the old stuff and maybe some of the tricks that they have from the Cybertruck production line. And they are aiming to exceed 3 million vehicle capacity with their existing infrastructure. So they are focused on absolute efficient use of infrastructure, footprint, etc. to meet production demands without any necessity for new factories. A lot of people are hoping for the Giga Mexico thing to land. I think they're going to pause that, well, clearly, and focus on squeezing their existing infrastructure as much as they can. And this company is lean and mean. There's one image I shared yesterday on Patreon. They basically tore a Cybertruck apart to every single little component, every single wire, every piece with a posted sticky on it. Can they kill it? Can they consolidate it? Can they rip it off? Can they make it stronger, lighter, whatever? It's insane how they do it. But this is their lean and mean and how they get to 3 million capacity with a lot of what they already have in California, in Fremont, Shanghai, Berlin, Texas, Nevada with the semi-truck. They're building that huge factory as we speak. And also, I know for a fact that a quarter of the floor of Giga Texas is given to this Model 2. The production line is already testing right now in testing stages. And they also hinted at the fact that they'll be able to roll out multiple cars on the same line. That's the new Roadster that they expect too. That could be one of the new models that's coming as well. That will be, people think, oh, ICE cars are not going away. They now have a new Model 3 Performance that costs $45,000 and it's quicker than any Porsche out there. It's madness and safer, and it drives itself, and it's got a better sound system, and it's more quiet, and what else? It's got entertainment in the back. You name it, it's just crazy. Anyway, how they do it, it's unthinkable. Let's go to second part, Robotaxi. Now, another nugget they dropped yesterday was the fact that they're calling this the CyberCab, and they're still looking at that 8th of August unveil. They did share a view of the UI app. I'll show it on the next slide as well. And they spoke about how it can be, some of the fleet will be company owned and some of it will be owned by the users, like Tesla owners. And he expressed the model as something like a hybrid between Airbnb and Uber. Now, other things that Elon did say on the call was, you could, a lot of people are afraid of lending out their car and having maybe bad characters in it, but you can actually lend it out to friends and family, maybe pick up somebody from a soccer game automatically using this CyberCab, Robotaxi, whatever you want to call it, or only have 5-star drivers, or only have friends and family, or only work at certain times of the day, and that can all be configured with the app here, which they've already designed. And again, it's going to be mind-blowing. Stuff that many believed was fantasy is proving to be quite real very fast. And there's more. Optimus Bot. This was big news too. He did say that they would have these things working in the factory, doing useful work later this year. That is in the next 7 months, 8 months. And potential to sell the Optimus Bot in 2025. Now, there's a couple of things. Obviously, this Optimus Bot is a revolutionary idea. Bots are coming all over the place. The question is, who can make the best, smartest one at scale with the most capabilities? This is from a few days ago from Doge Designer. Tesla Optimus Bot is going to be bigger than the car. Yep. And repeated that on the call as well yesterday. In terms of actually, we do think we will have the Optimus in limited production in the factory, in natural factory itself, doing useful tasks before the end of the year, and And I said before, Optimus will be more valuable than everything else combined. Because if you've got a sentient humanoid robot that is able to navigate reality and do tasks at request, there is no meaningful limit to the size of the economy. Cannot stress that enough. People think it's 10 years, 20 years into the future. It's not. It is coming soon, real soon, and the world is not ready. And by the way, the car is a bot on wheels too. So let's talk about the bot robotaxi and regulation. A lot of people are concerned about this. Elon mentioned the fact that there is a lot of need for this around the world. Other players are cutting through the regulatory jungle, as he described it. And he's confident that the data itself that they have from all their vehicles, version 12.4, which basically is version 13, demonstrates safety above humans. And regulators like data. They have the data. Also, you don't have to be worried about, maybe they won't like it in city X under some administration because of whatever. It doesn't matter. There are cities around the world that do not have drivers. They do not have enough taxis. They do not have efficient ways of utilizing infrastructure for transport. These cities all over the world will line up. Okay, I was listening to the story about Kyoto in Japan during the Blossom Festival. No taxis available. It's a disaster. The population quadruples for this one festival in Japan, and it would be a prime use case. And maybe they can be shipped around, who knows, in Boring Company tunnels to places where they're needed, like concerts and football games, etc. Crazy potential. Now, financials also were not that bad. A lot of people thought it'd be a nightmare financial situation, but they still had, I think, over $1 billion in free cash flow. And as Elon said as well, cars on ships cannot be delivered. There was the Berlin arson attack, the Red Sea, etc. And they still managed to cut the cost of making a car like crazy. This thing is a free cash flow machine. Right before I went live, Cern Basher pinged me, texted me. and hopefully he'll be on soon. And we'll go through the new channel. And he shared this. This is Tesla's operating cash flow versus free cash flow, and most of this operating cash flow came in over the past 12 quarters. And basically, Tesla spent $40 billion to make $50 billion. There is no company that kicks off so much free cash flow, and that is crazy. And Elon also said on the call that if they make enough free cash flow, they can use that to buy back stocks, buy back shares, which of course typically drives the price crazy. It's a trick used by Apple and General Motors and a lot of other companies, but he mentioned it in relation to the fact that if he doesn't get his 25% control, that could be one avenue to get it as well. Super interesting. Now, Q2 tailwinds. People think, oh, Q1 is a disaster and that's it, let's move on. No, all the stuff, okay, they made 433,000 cars in Q1, but they were only able to deliver 386,000 of them. That other 50,000 cars hits in Q2. They have no problem shifting the metal at all, especially with the deals that are out there. It's crazy. And I know the Wall Street analysts say, oh, price cuts, bad. No. No other car makers except for BYD are really ramping their electric vehicles. So that makes it easier for Tesla to get access to, cheaper batteries, cheaper lithium, cheaper deals, better deals from suppliers because nobody else is doing this stuff. That's going to be a big tailwind for Q2. But of course, we know Wall Street's not forward-looking, so they won't even take this into account. But we will, and there'll be a big surprise next quarter for sure. Now, another cool thing that came out, I don't even know what point we're on right now. We're getting through. I always start my mind maps, by the way, at 12 o'clock and go around the clock. For those of you who still know how to read a traditional clock, I know some young people that actually don't anymore. Anyway, Elon did say, smart car, all else is dead. That's kind of his future vision. He spoke a lot about the BlackBerry phone, which was like a brick versus an iPhone, and flip phone, etc., etc. Nobody will be buying a car unless it is a smart car, i.e. it can do everything you need and it can drive itself and pick you up and park itself and all that type of stuff. All else is dead. I thought that was quite profound. In addition, he was not holding any punches when he talked about battery electric vehicles of the future. All else is a failed strategy. Okay? Your smart car will be versus your horse and carriage. You choose. Your plug-in hybrids are a failed strategy. And the only way forward is to focus on affordability and broad access and very low cost of ownership vehicles as we go forward. And people are still, I had to do this tweet yesterday, people are still talking about no hybrids are the way, and you got people who are supposedly independent people on CNBS talking about GM, yeah, and Ford and this, and then you look and you find out they're on the board of those companies. It's just the world is so corrupt. Anyway, enough on that little tangent. Let's talk about energy storage. That's a fascinating place for me. We're in a world, actually, by the way, where we have a reactor in the sky, free energy. The problem is we can't store it. And guess who's there? Who's the number one Megapack storage provider on the planet? And that is Tesla. Coincidentally, but it's a car company. No, it's not. Not at all. Not by any stretch. But what's interesting about this is the energy storage business will outgrow the automotive business. Elon said that. And he also said they had record profitability in their Megapack business. We'll break that down in a second. I think their storage deployments are 4.1 gigawatt hours in Q1, which is massive. Coincidentally, I didn't put it in here, but they also, about 3 weeks ago, created 1,000 Cybertrucks in a week. So annualized, that's 50,000. And they're still going through ramping hell. So that's pretty quick. That means they will get to 150, 250,000 within a year or so, pretty much, based on their experience with other products, although it's a very complex product. Anyway, back to the energy business. What's fascinating about this is there will be infinite demand for data centers, and data centers need energy. And if you're in a place like California, where sometimes there are power outages because it's run by PG&E in some cases, they're going to need these Megapacks. And Tesla have demand out the wazoo for years into the future, and they can charge whatever they want, and therefore they're making over 25% margins in these puppies. Record Megapack sales and margins. I think revenues are up not that much, I think 7 or 8% year over year, but it takes some time to realize the revenue. So the customer will buy it, then they'll make it, then they'll ship it, then they'll implement it, and then they don't get the money until it's actually operational for a certain period of time, which is a problem. But their margins, the gross profit was up 140% year over year for this Megapack business, which is huge. In fact, I was the only person ever to write a Substack on the Megapack business and the valuation model. It's crazy, but this was my paper I wrote back in January or February this year. But you can see here that even this business alone, by 2032, conservatively, just the storage business is worth $2,478 a share. Just the Megapack business. This does not even include the AutoBidder business, which is their AI component, where they actually become utilities leveraging AI. It's mind-blowing. But there's more. AI, biggest story. We are living in the AI revolution. We're right bang in the middle of it. And here, they have invested very heavily. A big focus is on FSD. And they also talked about Inference. We'll talk about that in a second too. But FSD version 12.3, point whatever it is now, 4 I think, is already in 1.8 million cars. We don't know the take rate yet, but what they did do is reduce the price of it to $99 to make it more accessible. And they have also expanded their AI compute to 35,000 H100s, and that will grow to 85,000 by year end. And that did impact $2.5 billion of free cash flow. So this is the so-called pivot. We were pretty sure it was happening behind the scenes, but instead of building Giga Mexico, they said, let's really get really effective and efficient working with our existing footprint in our factories, and let's take all that money we were going to build Giga Mexico with and buy H100s, build our compute, and nail FSD. And that's exactly what they've done. You can see FSD version 12 miles just in a matter of weeks is, what's that, 250 million miles? This is 1.3 billion on the left already. And again, crazy. And this is going vertical, especially with 1.8, 1.9 million people. Now, when people try this thing out, there's no doubt that they'll spend the $99 a month to have it, because you will not feel safe in a car without it. And the take rate should be at least 50%. So you calculate, what is, challenge for the kids at home, half of 1.9 million cars. Okay, 50% of that multiplied by $99. That is pure margin that hits the bottom line. And the SaaS business of this company is going to go through the roof, and Wall Street is not accounting for it. It's hilarious. It's such a dream for us to be in so early. Wait till you see the ATR model. Now, one other thing too, that 85,000 H100s by year end is going to be massive. Look how much they spent basically since January. They went from 15,000 H100s to over 35,000, and there'll be 85,000 by year end. It's a full-on pivot to AI. Get all you can, scale all you can, build that data an insurmountable lead, and then you can milk it for the future. And remember, anybody who doubts or bets against Elon typically loses. Speaking of another huge Easter egg, which is so important, and this is called AI Fleet Inference. It's been in my model for a year now, but this AI inference efficiency is vastly better than any other company. So basically, the Tesla vehicles come with computers that can process data, and then they can ship that data up. They will have a fleet of tens of millions of these things floating around that when they're not driving, they become inference computers to do solve real world AI problems. Nobody has this. And Elon hinted that this will be the largest inference engine on the planet. And users that own these cars, this is kind of where it gets really mind-boggling and it melts the brain, at least it melts mine. Buy a car for $25,000, put it on the streets, activate it as a Robotaxi for, 100 hours a week. And when it's at home charging on a pad that you don't even have to plug it into through, having a brain fart in the word, conduction pad or whatever, induction pad. It can run Inference. And then the owner of that car gets paid to run the Inference. Okay? Now, back to this. There's no company even close to the inference efficiency of Tesla. We've had to do that because we are constrained by inference hardware in the car. We don't have the choice, but it will pay dividends in many ways. So every car has a powerful computer that has a very, very low energy draw, unlike massive data centers running H100s. So it's again, mind-boggling. And then the final piece, which is kind of interesting, the reorg. Everybody's worried, everybody's leaving Tesla, the executives are leaving. No, this is a reorg. And he likened it to biological growth. Hey, Jimmy, good to see you. And the evolution of humans even. And he said, every 3 to 5 years, you have to reinvent yourself to survive. If you are stagnant and stale, you will die. And the other thing he mentioned is like being a human losing the need to have a tail. We still have our tailbone, but we don't have a tail. And that's part of the evolution he spoke about. Now, almost finished, ladies and gentlemen. Three things left. One, Tesla is not a car company. This is their ecosystem, from service to insurance, to the vehicles, to the ride-hail, robotaxi, to the FSD, to the AI compute, to the humanoid robots, to the auto bidder, the energy storage, solar, lithium refining, charging. Literally, there's no other company even remotely like it on Earth. Not even remotely like it on Earth. And this, excuse me, shout out to Cern Basher. Hopefully we'll bang our heads soon together again, because we need to revise this Tesla valuation model that looked completely crazy. By 2034, last time we ran the numbers on this, we were looking at a stock price of way north of, I don't even want to mention the crazy numbers, but you can read them there on the chart, because this stuff is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Robots, energy storage, AI inference, auto bidder, cars, madness. Let's look at the chart real quick and that'll let you all go. This is Tesla on the ATR. A lot of questions I get now is, I missed it at 140 2 days ago with the trade alert. What do I do now? Well, right now it's at $161, $162. But when you zoom out, and this is the reason we built this ATR model, and you see exactly where we are and where we've come from, this stock was at $420 back in late 2021. Now, I've been analyzing the stock since 2017. If you asked me, or if you told me in 2021 what this company would be doing in 2024, I'd say you're crazy. There's no way they can pull that off. And here we are. Okay, so I think it's a special place to be. Thank you all for coming. Hope you like the content. And this is the era of artificial intelligence. Be ready, everybody. Thanks all for coming. Have a good day.